And so we're live. Hello and welcome to the channel. My name's Vincent. Welcome to Met Cancer. Metabolic, not genetic. None of this is medical advice. I'm not a doctor. I'm just some random bloke on the internet. This may be the ramblings of a madman. Well, anyway, metabolic therapy. Where do you go? Where do you go for metabolic therapy? Let's ask the professor.
Well, that's the biggest stumbling block. And it's such a tragedy for me to hear so many people contacting me, so enthusiastic about doing this metabolic approach, and then go to their clinic and get slapped down saying, oh, this is all nonsense and this doesn't work and there's no evidence to support this. And so they clearly are not aware of what. So you say, where are we going to go? Well, you certainly right now cannot go to the top medical centers. Maybe for brain cancer, where they have heard that ketogenic diets might have some therapeutic benefit, but and they may be able to work with patients for brain cancer. But again, they're forced into this crazy radiation stuff. But if you go lung cancer, colon cancer, breast cancer, most of those folks have never heard of metabolic therapy, even though we publish all these papers on it, even though we've looked at the biochemistry, or others have looked at the biochemistry. We see the strategy for managing the cancer, but you're right. We have not yet brought this into clinical practice, except in small case reports and, a few, which I write up. I've written up a number of these reports. And so I know what to do. Or we've done one for advanced lung cancer to the brain. He's on a Mediterranean diet, calorie restricted Mediterranean. He's doing fine. He's out 9 years. And another woman who had stage 4 breast cancer also metastasized to brain and bones, and she's doing well. As a matter of fact, Maggie Jones and Brad Jones, who just developed the documentary, the movie, the documentary on the cancer revolution, are now collecting all these so-called terminal cancer patients that have done metabolic therapy and are doing fine. And they all want to tell their story about what they did. So I think that once that documentary comes out, and again, it's the education. If you go, we definitely, and we say, well, clinical trials. Well, who's going to do a clinical trial? Who pays for clinical trials? And usually it's the pharmaceutical companies. They have enough funds to do clinical trials.
Good luck with that.
There's not, so far, I have not yet found a pharmaceutical company that would like to run a big clinical trial on metabolic therapy, because there's nothing, we're not using any toxic drug. We're using repurposed drugs and diets and things like this. And again, who's trained? We need a cadre of trained physicians that know, okay, we ran into this little stumbling block here. How do we overcome that? Or how do we bypass or deal with that? And then we need to work together as a community of knowledgeable people and start training the re-education in the cancer management field. Medicals, this is the job of the medical schools. They should be training their oncologists to know how to use metabolic therapy as it by itself or combined with other standard practices. So it can happen, but the biggest motivation to do this is coming from the patients.
Exactly.
It's not coming from the establishment.
It's coming from the patients, not from the establishment. Well, I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. People will want to do metabolic therapy. They will get a retired doctor or someone who can guide them through metabolic therapy. They will get better, and they'll tell their friends, and they'll tell their friends and their friends with cancer. And then what will happen is the whole cancer industry will be disrupted from below. They will be disrupted from below, which means that people won't want to go to hospital anymore and get toxic treatments. They will just get metabolic therapy and use maybe a retired doctor who's been doing this standard of care all his life and knows that it doesn't work, or it doesn't work for the vast majority of patients. Now, let me ask you, Dennis, does it work? Read us your letter to Drew.
Hi, Drew. I hope this email finds you well. My name is Stacy, and I have an incredible and inspiring story to share with you. In October 2022, I was diagnosed with stage 4 pulmonary artery intimal sarcoma with a metastatic growth in my right lung. Despite the grim prognosis, I chose not.
Sarcoma. Nobody survives. Intimal, what did he call it? Intimal cranial, not cranial. It was in his artery, arterial sarcoma. Nobody survives. Dennis did.
Not to undergo chemotherapy or radiation, and instead delved into the science of Dr. Thomas Seyfried. With the guidance of an amazing team of mentors turned friends, I constructed a human-scale press pulse protocol inspired by Dr. Seyfried's groundbreaking research, which initially was conducted on mice. Remarkably, what seemed like an insurmountable battle against cancer has taken an extraordinary turn. In my recent PET CT scan, they found no traces of cancer in my body. Yes, you read that right. I'm currently cancer-free. During many previous podcasts, Dr. Seyfried has mentioned the value of people hearing from someone who has put his science into action. Well, that person is me. I have comprehensive PET CT scans and other records documenting my entire journey, undeniable proof of the effectiveness of this approach. You are more than welcome to review them all. Until now, I've chosen to keep the specific details of my day-to-day quasi-private, hesitating to share my protocol or its success publicly before achieving this momentous milestone. But now I believe it's time to spread the word. Drew, I would be honored to have a conversation with you and share my experience with Dr. Seyfried's science and the HRF team. Let's discuss how it works, the challenges I faced, and the incredible difference it made in my life.
So, it works. And you can find Dennis Stacy's protocol on metcancer.com. Just bear with me, webcam and browser. There we go. So that's me with the browser. The Press Pulse protocol is on metcancer.com. Simply go to literature and click Press Pulse. That will bring this paper, which you can read at your leisure. And as for Dennis Stacy's protocol, you can go to literature and, case reports, and see Dennis Stacy's protocol. It's all in there, what he did, the interventions, the results, etc., etc. Everything's in there. Now, you cannot get hold of, or it's very difficult to get hold of, dioxonoreleucine, whatever. The other drugs that Professor Seyfried has worked with is embendazole.
No, it's not whether you're diagnosed. It's whether I'm diagnosed.
Okay.
What am I going to do if I'm diagnosed with cancer?
Okay, fine. Fair
You
enough.
look very young. You look very young and healthy. Your probability of getting cancer anytime soon.
There's a lot of people that get breast cancer really early nowadays.
They do.
Yeah.
So as I said, the first thing we do is we take a comprehensive blood work.
Okay.
Okay. And a lot of people who have cancer, now not a lot, but many, let's put it this way. They are imbalanced in many ways. Some of them have type 2 diabetes. A lot of people with cancer, type 2 diabetes rolls into cancer. Diabetes has now replaced smoking as the one of the great risk factors for cancer. So people stop smoking, they get fat, they get cancer now. All you did was replace one risk factor with another risk factor.
Right.
Yeah. So a lot of folks have metabolic imbalances already seen on a comprehensive blood work. You know, you can look at C-reactive protein, you can look at triglyceride levels, you can look at a lot of variety of markers. Many people have parasites and they didn't even know it. We have to clean up the blood work. We have to clean up the patient at the beginning, so the patient knows, okay, if you have pristine blood work, now we just put you on the Keto Mojo, get yourself into a low glucose ketone index. And as soon as the glucose ketone index reaches 2.0 or below, is when we'll administer the glutamine targeting drug. And we'll do that with embendazole, fenbendazole. These are parasite medications.
Okay.
They're very non-toxic, but they slaughter these tumor cells. But they work much better when the body is in therapeutic ketosis. So the body has to be in therapeutic ketosis first, and then we attack with low doses of non-toxic drugs.
So the body has to be in metabolic ketosis first, and then we attack with low doses of drugs. Now, the drugs that he just mentioned there was membendazole and fenbendazole. Now, if you go to metcancer.com, you can see the actual paper that he's talking about membendazole and fenbendazole. Well, it's actually membendazole that he's talking about, but they did a paper all about membendazole. And when you actually read that comprehensively, the membendazole was as effective in the mouse as was DON itself. So now to the chat. The live chat's not coming up on the screen, so I'll go back to the webcam. So, Kent Jacobson has just asked, will you have Seyfried live on the channel here in May? Unfortunately, not. He is going to be coming onto the channel, but he's not going to be live. We're not live streaming. But I will invite him to do a live stream, given the fact that I'm in the UK and Professor Seyfried is in Boston, which is United States Eastern Time. We can chat early for him if he would like to come on the live stream before he starts his work at the college. It would be a good time for me, because that would be round about 12 o'clock lunchtime here in the UK. So another question from the live chat. Mike, the same technology Keto Mojo used to measure glucose can also be used to measure glutamine. Yep, thanks for that, Mike. I'm not sure that it will be ever offered as part of the protocol, though. You're not sure that what... Sorry, Mike. You're not sure that what will ever be offered as part of the protocol. I look forward to hearing from you there. So many people go to their doctors, to their oncologists, and the oncologist says, "Oh, eat what you like. Sugar has nothing to do with cancer." Well, how does a PET scan work? Let's hear what the professor has to say about sugar.
One of the people who emailed me said they went to the Mayo Clinic with glioblastoma, and one of the neuro-oncologists there said sugar has nothing to do with glioblastoma. And I said that we were the first to publish a direct association between glioblastoma and the mouse and how fast the tumor, the sugar and how fast sugar could make a tumor grow. And then that was replicated in humans with glioblastoma. Hyperglycemia is an accelerant to rapid tumor growth. And it's been repeated dozens of times. And now it's been shown for almost every major cancer that the higher the blood sugar, the faster the tumor grows. The lower the blood sugar, the slower. This has been now repeated. And yet for a person treating patients to say that sugar has nothing to do with glioblastoma speaks to a profound lack of knowledge on the part of not only that person, but the entire establishment.
A profound lack of knowledge on behalf of the establishment. Absolutely. A profound lack of knowledge. And that's where we are with the whole thing. I was going to put another video on here and I can't remember. Oh, yes. So, Professor, yes, is it easy? Is it too simple? People say it's too simple.
Without energy, nothing can grow. So where do these cells get their energy from? How do they get their energy? Once you understand how the cancer cell gets energy, then you can target that and they'll die. It's not that complicated. Oh, can we kill cancer cells if we take away their fermentation? Yes. What do they ferment? They ferment glucose and the amino acid glutamine. So if we take away glucose and glutamine, they should die. And the answer is yes, they will die. So, and they can't burn fatty acids or ketones, so the solution to the cancer problem becomes recognized. So why nobody is doing this? So, and in fact, when I say that, one of the problems, people think it's too simple. People want things to be complicated. So nothing can make a simple condition more complicated than saying that gene mutations are responsible for this disease, because it's infinitely complicated.
Infinitely complicated, yes. Metabolic therapy is too simple. Now, just in the chat, Kent Jacobson's just asked about Don from China. Yeah, I did find some, and lots of companies offering from all sorts of things. Now, it's something that we really need to look into, and I hope to find somewhere that would take a sample of the Don that we get from China and tell us how good it is. But I don't know anybody. I don't know any. I know nothing of that. So yeah, is it real? Is it fake? I don't know. But certainly from that mebendazole paper, the mebendazole paper, the results from that were very, very encouraging, and certainly not medical advice. I'm not a doctor. Maybe the ramblings of a madman. But if it was me, I would certainly be looking at taking the dog dewormer embendazole, and I would get my blood glucose as low as was physically possible. So that'll do it for today. Glad we've had some members into the chat. Nice to speak to you guys. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.